Asterisk, let the world around you soften. Close your eyes and allow yourself to drift. The centuries are peeling away, like old paint from timber beams. The noise of the modern city fades, and in its place, you begin to hear something else. The muffled clatter of wooden wheels over cobblestones, the distant toll of a church bell, heavy and low, the call of a street vendor, already awake before the sun itself. You are entering another time, another life. Not the courts of kings, not the fields of battle, but the forgotten alleys of a medieval town, where life is raw, where survival is harsh, and where countless voices have long been silenced by history. Tonight, we will walk beside one of those voices. A woman whose name no scribe preserved, whose face no painter honored, but whose life was as real, as heavy, and as human as any crowned ruler. She was a prostitute, one of many, hidden in the shadows, surviving on the edges of a world that both condemned and depended on her. Her story is not written in chronicles or celebrated in songs, but it lingers, in the whispers of streets, in the silence of forgotten doors, in the breath of time itself. Let us begin, slowly, gently, stepping into her world, as though entering a dream. The morning is not golden. It is gray, reluctant, shivering. Light seeps into the medieval town like a timid intruder, filtering through smoke that curls from crooked chimneys, struggling to push past shutters half-rotted with age. The streets are narrow, damp, uneven. The smell of last night still clings here, spilled ale, sour wine, refuse left for pigs to nose at, sweat and smoke and the faint copper tang of blood. Within this maze of leaning houses, there is a room. Its walls are timber, its roof patched with straw and cloth, its air heavy with the closeness of too many bodies. On a pallet stuffed with straw, a woman stirs. Her body aches as though she has been beaten, though no fist struck her last night. Her work is labor that leaves no bruises a doctor would mark, but it hollows her nonetheless. She is young, though her face seems older. Her hair, tangled from restless sleep, falls into her eyes as she rises. She pulls a ragged shift over her shoulders and ties it with a cord. Her feet touch the cold floor and she winces. Around her, the muffled sounds of others still breathing heavily in their sleep. Her sisters, her companions in trade, fill the air. Some snore softly. One mutters a name she will not remember when she wakes. Another coughs, the rough cough of lungs filled with smoke and winter damp. She reaches for a basin. The water within it is cold, gathered from a public well, and she splashes it across her face. It shocks her into wakefulness. Her reflection stares back at her from the ripples. Hollow eyes, lips cracked from the winter air, a face that carries the invisible marks of nights lived for others, not for herself. The city outside stirs. A baker shouts. A cart rattles. Somewhere, a child cries for bread. And she gathers her shawl, worn thin, and prepares to step into the streets. The day will be long. She will wait in taverns, at corners, in places where the shadows linger. She will speak with men who do not see her as a soul. She will smile when her heart does not feel like smiling. She will endure touches that scrape against her spirit like knives against stone. And for each of these, she will hope for a coin, just enough to eat, just enough to survive. Yet in this moment, as she pulls her hair back with a strip of cloth, she pauses. Just for a breath. The others sleep still, and the silence is hers. In this brief stillness, there is something fragile, almost invisible. A reminder that she is still human. That she is more than her hunger, more than her labor, more than the weight of men's desire. The light of dawn creeps further into the alleyways. The medieval town yawns awake, unaware of her, unconcerned by her existence. And yet she rises. Not with grandeur, not with joy, but with resilience, the quiet defiance of one who refuses to disappear, even when the world would rather she remain unseen. The door opens with a slow groan, wood swollen from last night's damp. She steps into the morning air. It is thin, sharp, carrying the bite of cold that creeps into bones and lingers. The cobblestones beneath her feet are slick with frost, the narrow street still shadowed by leaning houses whose upper floors nearly kiss each other across the gap. Above, The sky is pale and uncertain, the color of ashes. The town is waking. Merchants push carts, their wheels catching on uneven stones. A fishmonger calls, his voice hoarse from drink, lifting baskets still wet from the river. The smoke of morning fires drifts, thick and acrid, carrying the scent of burning peat and damp wood. And woven among these sounds are the mutters of beggars, the yips of hungry dogs, the creak of shutters being pried open. She draws her shawl tighter. The cloth is thin, barely enough to hold back the morning chill, but it is all she has. Her stomach grumbles. Last night's bread was stale, shared among 3 women, and gone too quickly. Hunger is not new to her. It is a constant companion, sitting beside her like a shadow, reminding her that every hour, every encounter, must be weighed against survival. As she walks, men glance at her. Some with smirks, some with narrowed eyes, some pretending not to notice though their gaze lingers. To them, she is both invisible and unforgettable, condemned in daylight, sought after in darkness. She knows this look too well, the quick calculation in their eyes, the small spark of desire buried beneath layers of shame. They see her not as a person, but as a possibility, an escape, a sin wrapped in human form. She does not respond. She keeps walking. The cobbled street leads toward the taverns, the gathering places where men's thirst for drink often bleeds into thirst for her company. Taverns are the heart of her trade, the smoky halls where laughter grows too loud, where coins are loosened as easily as tongues, where men look for warmth that ale alone cannot give. She pauses outside one such door, leaning against the wall. The wood is scarred by years of fists, knives, and drunken scuffles. From inside comes the low hum of voices, the smell of brewing ale, the heavy musk of bodies already pressed too close. She waits, as she always does, watching faces pass, weighing possibilities. A farmer lumbers by, his boots caked in mud, his hands calloused from plowing frozen soil. He does not meet her eyes. His coin is too precious to waste. A squire struts past, his cloak lined with fur, his chin lifted. He sneers when he sees her, yet she knows, she has seen his kind return under cover of night, when pride is weaker than desire. A merchant lingers, pretending to adjust the strap of his satchel, his gaze flicking toward her before hurrying on. She knows these rhythms. This waiting, this weighing is part of the work. Not every man who looks will stop. Not every man who stops will pay. And not every coin given is worth the weight it carries. But she stands there, patient, her breath visible in the cold air, her back against the tavern wall. Her sisters are scattered across the streets, women like her, waiting, watching, bargaining. She sees one of them, Marion, older, her laughter loud enough to draw men like moths to flame. Marion catches her eye and grins, flashing teeth yellowed by years of wine. A moment of camaraderie, a silent reminder, we endure this together. Another woman passes, younger, barely more than a girl, her cheeks hollow, her eyes darting like a frightened bird's. She clutches her shawl as though it were armor, and disappears into the alley. The hours crawl. The sun climbs slowly above the rooftops, casting long slivers of light across the street. The noise of the town thickens, vendors shouting, donkeys braying, the clang of a smith's hammer ringing out like a heartbeat. And through it all, she waits, her body a commodity, her time a silent offering. But her mind wanders. She thinks of the fields she left behind, of a village where her childhood once unfolded. She remembers chasing geese across grass wet with morning dew, her laughter ringing freely, before hunger drove her here. She remembers her mother's hands, calloused but kind, brushing her hair by the fire. Those days feel like another lifetime, a dream slipping further with each passing year. Now the dream is distant. Now she belongs to the streets. The tavern door bursts open. A man stumbles out, heavy with drink though the day has barely begun. His cheeks are flushed, his eyes unfocused. He sees her, and a crooked smile spreads across his face. He slurs a greeting, one she has heard countless times before. She answers with practiced ease, her voice soft, coaxing, though inside she feels only the dull ache of routine. They exchange words, brief and meaningless. Then comes the moment, the quiet clink of coin pressed into her hand. Cold metal, small and worn, yet heavier than anything else in her world. Enough for bread. Enough, perhaps, for a scrap of meat, if she bargains well. She tucks it away, her face still composed, her body already moving into the role she must play. The day has begun. For others, it is work at the market, at the forge, at the loom. For her, it is this waiting, watching, enduring. Each man a stranger, each coin a necessity, each moment another step in the endless cycle of survival. As she takes the man's arm and follows him into the shadows of the alley, she does not think of love, nor of choice. She thinks only of hunger, of shelter, of making it through to another dawn. And so the streets close around her once more, indifferent, unchanging, eternal. The city breathes, and she breathes with it, one among many whose stories will never be written, yet whose lives formed the unseen foundation of the medieval world. Asterisk. The alley is narrow, damp, and filled with the scent of rot. Here, where the watchmen rarely pass, the world strips itself of pretense. The tavern's laughter fades behind her, the cries of vendors are muffled by distance. The man beside her stumbles slightly, his boots scraping against the uneven stones. His breath is sour with drink, heavy with the bitterness of ale, and when he laughs, it is the laugh of someone who has forgotten kindness long ago. She knows this man. Not by name, names matter little here, but by type. There are many kinds: the drunk who seeks to feel alive again, the lonely traveler who longs for a voice in the dark, the cruel one who comes not for touch but for power, the desperate who cannot find love anywhere else. He is a mixture of some and none, a passing figure in the endless procession that defines her life. She guides him toward a door, half hidden in shadow, where the wood is warped from damp and the hinges groan in protest. Inside is a room as meager as her own. A pallet, a stool, a single candle guttering against the draught. He grins at her, a grin both triumphant and pitiful, as though the coin in her hand has bought him not just her body but a moment of control in a world that denies him power. She has learned how to play this role. Her voice softens, her gestures smooth into something resembling invitation. Her body moves with practiced patience, each motion calculated, not for pleasure but for survival. She knows where to stand so the candlelight hides her fatigue. She knows how to smile without letting the smile touch her eyes. She knows how to silence the voice within her that cries against the routine. The act itself passes in fragments. His hands are clumsy, his words incoherent. He wants her to laugh, so she laughs, though the sound feels foreign in her throat. He wants her to whisper a name, so she whispers, though the syllables mean nothing to her. He seeks warmth, and she gives him the illusion of it, wrapping him in a semblance of care he has not earned. All the while, her mind drifts elsewhere, beyond the four walls, beyond the man, beyond the moment. She thinks of bread, of the marketplace, of the face of her sister who left the town months ago and never returned. She thinks of the child she once carried, lost before it could take its first breath. She thinks of a life that could have been hers had fate dealt a kinder hand. Her eyes remain steady, her touch rehearsed, but her thoughts are far away, drifting like smoke through cracks in the roof. The last pence? The man exhales a long, satisfied sigh, as though he has conquered something, though the only conquest here is emptiness. He pulls on his boots with fumbling haste, muttering something about returning soon, though she knows he may never come again. He presses another coin into her palm, small, worn, but enough to buy another day. Then he is gone, swallowed by the noise of the street, leaving behind only the sour scent of ale and the echo of his clumsy laughter. She sits for a moment in the silence that follows. Her body feels heavier than before, her spirit wrapped in a thin cloak of weariness. She stares at the coin in her hand. It glints faintly in the candlelight, a fragile prize for the burden just endured. She tucks it away, hiding it deep in the folds of her shawl. And then she breathes. Slowly, deliberately. The moment is over, and another will come. This is the rhythm of her days, the endless cycle of waiting, enduring, earning, surviving. Yet as she rises to her feet, a faint sound carries through the window, the laughter of children chasing each other in the street. For a moment she pauses, listening. The laughter is bright, unbroken, untouched by the shadows where she lives. It pierces her heart with a sharpness more painful than cruelty. Once, long ago, she laughed like that. Once, she believed life could be kind. But the moment passes. The laughter fades into the bustle of the street. She pulls her shawl around her shoulders, opens the creaking door, and steps back into the daylight. Another man will come. Another coin will pass. Another day will carry her forward toward another night. And in the endless tide of strangers she remains, nameless, faceless to history, yet enduring, one breath at a time. And so, as the evening folds its cloak of darkness across the crooked lanes of the medieval town, the prostitute makes her way toward the tavern, that dim-lit refuge where warmth and danger dance together, inseparably twined. The cobblestones are slick beneath her worn shoes, the night air heavy with the smell of roasted meat, spilled ale, and the sweat of men who gather here to forget the weight of their lives. The tavern door creaks as it opens, spilling out laughter, curses, and the raw chorus of a lute strummed too eagerly by drunken fingers. Inside, the air is thick, choking almost, with smoke from torches and the pungent haze of unwashed bodies pressed too close together. Wooden benches creak under the shifting weight of men in rough wool and leather, their hands stained with earth, with blood, with toil. She steps across the threshold, and though no one announces her arrival, the room knows she is there. Eyes, some glazed with drink, some sharp with hunger, turn toward her. For many she is not a woman, not even a person, but a shadow of their desires, a vessel into which they may pour their weariness, their rage, their longing. Yet others, quieter eyes, softer gazes, regard her with a kind of wordless pity, the recognition that she is trapped in a life chosen by circumstance rather than will. She moves carefully, like a dancer across a stage, threading her way between the tables. Coins clink in the dark, the language of exchange whispered louder than words. She hears offers disguised as jokes, rough invitations, slurred promises of food, warmth, perhaps even protection. She knows these promises well. She knows how quickly they sour, how swiftly tenderness can twist into cruelty. At the back of the tavern, the innkeeper nods at her, a silent acknowledgement. She pays him in coin when she can, or in favors when she cannot. He, in turn, provides her with a corner, dimly lit, away from the harshest eyes, where she may sit and wait. And so she lowers herself onto the rough bench, feeling the splinters bite through her thin dress, and folds her hands upon her lap. Here, in this smoky hall, time stretches strangely. Moments thicken, as though the air itself holds memory of countless nights before. Other women, other men, laughter that dissolved into tears, the rhythm of footsteps ascending creaking stairs to small, cold chambers above. She listens to the chatter, the curses, the bursts of drunken song, and beneath it all, she feels the pulse of something older, something that has endured since the first towns were built. A cycle of hunger, of desire, of survival. For she is part of that cycle. She knows it well. She is both inside it and apart from it, both participant and witness. The tavern is not merely a place of work, it is a mirror of the world, where the lines between sin and necessity blur into nothingness. As the night deepens, she takes the hand of her first client, rough and trembling with ale. She rises with a small practiced smile, not quite joy, not quite sorrow, and guides him toward the narrow stair. Behind her, the tavern roars on, indifferent, eternal, as though her footsteps are but one note in an endless song of human need. And so another night begins. Up the tavern's creaking stairs she goes, her hand guiding the man whose steps stumble not only from drink, but from the weariness of a life etched deep into his bones. The wood groans beneath their weight, as though remembering countless others who have walked this same path, in laughter, in secrecy, in desperation. The narrow corridor smells of old straw, candle wax, and the faint trace of too many bodies pressed too close within too little space. The door opens to a small chamber, bare, cold, and almost without identity. A bed of rough timber, its straw mattress lumpy and sour with age, sits against the wall. A single candle flickers upon a cracked shelf, its flame bending under the sigh of the draft that sneaks through the warped shutters. The walls hold no decoration, no comfort, only shadows that stretch and withdraw with the restless glow of the flame. Here, the woman and the man enter into a different world. A room that does not belong to either of them, and yet swallows them both whole. She has been here before, so many times that the place no longer surprises her. Its emptiness is familiar, its silence heavy. She knows how to move, how to arrange her face, how to shape her gestures into what is expected of her. The man, a farmer perhaps, or a soldier returned from toil, looks at her with eyes that are both eager and ashamed. His hands, rough and calloused, tremble slightly as he fumbles with the pouch at his belt. He spills a few coins onto the splintered table, their dull ring a sound older than memory. Payment made, the ritual may begin. And yet, beneath this transaction, something more fragile stirs. She sees the weariness in him, the way his shoulders sag as though he has carried too much earth, too much grief, too much silence. He does not speak, not at first. Instead, he sits heavily on the edge of the bed, his head bowed, his breath uneven. For a moment, it seems as though he has forgotten why he has come. She stands before him, still, quiet, waiting. Not with impatience, but with the patience of one who knows the rhythms of human need. She has learned that sometimes the body seeks not only pleasure, but comfort. Sometimes the act is less about desire than about the wish to be seen, even for a fleeting instant, as someone more than a shadow. At last, he lifts his gaze to her, and in the candlelight, his eyes hold a strange mixture of hunger and sorrow. She moves toward him, not hurriedly, but with a kind of weary grace, and rests her hand upon his shoulder. The touch is light, practiced, yet it carries with it a whisper of gentleness. For though her life has been marked by survival, though she has built armor around her heart, some part of her still remembers softness. The man exhales, a sound like a release, and leans into her touch. The candle sputters as if listening. The night holds its breath. And in that narrow chamber, two strangers, joined by coin, by circumstance, by the unending tide of human longing, become for a brief while companions in the silence. Outside, the tavern roars with laughter, curses, and song. But here, above the noise, there is only the sound of two beings trying, however imperfectly, to escape the loneliness that clings to them like a second skin. And though dawn will scatter them once more, sending him back to his fields or his battles, and her back to her endless cycle of waiting, for this one moment, just this, something fragile flickers into existence. A shared breath, a fleeting warmth, a tiny rebellion against the vast cold of the world. And so the hours drift deeper into the marrow of night. The square is quieter now, yet not silent. A few drunkards still stagger between taverns, their laughter broken, their songs dissolving into hoarse coughs, their shadows dancing against the walls like brittle puppets. She watches them with a gaze both sharp and weary. She has learned to read men, not just their eyes, but the way their hands hang at their sides, the stiffness of their shoulders, the tilt of their walk that betrays coin or desperation, anger or loneliness. To her, the streets are not stone and timber, but a vast, unending book of gestures and intentions. She waits, patient, under the flicker of a guttering lantern. The oil is nearly spent, the flame licking low, but still it casts its trembling circle of light. Within that faint glow, her figure seems like part of the city itself. Another arch, another worn stone, a shape that belongs to the fabric of night. A man approaches, not young, not old, his cloak rough, patched, the smell of sweat and ale heavy about him. He mumbles words she knows by heart, half bargaining, half pleading. She does not flinch. Her voice, when she replies, is practiced calm, low, steady, as though she has spoken these lines 1,000 times, as though her lips were carved by repetition itself. They walk together down a side alley, where the stones glisten damp, and the rats scurry just beyond sight. The city holds its breath here, watching without eyes. And though this is her trade, though she has walked this path countless nights before, a small part of her drifts away in these moments, some fragment of self that lifts above the roofs and chimneys, seeking the stars. For even within the heaviest silence of duty, the soul dreams of escape. She does not think of tomorrow. She does not think of years yet to come. She thinks only of passing this night, earning enough coin to eat, to keep the chill from her bones, to see another dawn. And the city, with its stone walls and endless hunger, listens and waits as she disappears into its labyrinth once more. The door closes behind them with a soft click, shutting out the clamor of the tavern, the shouting of drunken men, and the faint echo of children chasing rats in the streets. Within the narrow chamber, the world shrinks to the space between four walls, to the trembling candlelight, to the slow rhythm of breath and motion. She stands, quiet, letting the door guard the outside world, letting the shadows lengthen across the floor. Her client shifts, uncertain, fumbling with words, fumbling with coin. She does not hurry, does not rush. She knows that time here is hers, even if only briefly, even if only in the small dominion of measured gestures. Her hands move gently, as if brushing against the world itself. She guides, she waits, she listens. Every motion is deliberate. The candlelight catches in her eyes, revealing a fatigue older than the night, a sorrow deeper than the words of any man who ever passed through these doors. And yet, within that fatigue, there is an unmistakable presence, an awareness of self that refuses to be diminished. The man exhales, and she senses his relief, his escape from a day of toil and a life of disappointment. In that moment, she does not think of love, does not think of desire. She thinks of survival. She thinks of tomorrow. She thinks of the coin that will buy bread, the roof that will keep frost from her hair, the fleeting comfort of a warm fire. And still, for an instant, something slips through, the quiet spark of connection, fragile and impermanent. It is not romance. It is not intimacy in the sense of tenderness or trust. It is a brief acknowledgement of another human being, two souls brushing against one another, however fleetingly, in the unending tide of transaction. She steps back, letting him take his leave, his coins pressed into her palm once more. They are cold, heavy, tangible, the weight of survival in metal. She counts them silently, tucks them away, and exhales a long, slow breath. Outside, the tavern's roar has not changed, yet here, in the silence, there is a momentary peace, a pause in the relentless grind of the streets. She sits for a while, letting the candle's trembling glow wash over her, letting her thoughts drift. She remembers the faces of other women, her sisters in survival, scattered across the town. She recalls the laughter they shared, the whispered stories, the small kindnesses that made the unbearable slightly lighter. She remembers the streets, the alleys, the cold mornings, the frostbitten hands, the hunger gnawing beneath every moment. And she knows that this life will continue, unyielding, unrelenting, as it always has. The city will wake again. Men will come and go. She will endure. She will survive. She will rise, again and again, beneath the gray dawn, beneath the indifferent stones, beneath the fleeting gaze of the world that has forgotten her. Because to endure is to live. Because to survive is to claim existence, however shadowed, however small. And in that, there is strength, quiet and unwavering. As enduring as the city itself. As the tavern's murmur settles into a low hum, she finds a quiet corner and sinks onto a worn bench. Around her, other women gather, their faces etched with the same fatigue, the same resilience. Some are older, their eyes carrying decades of hardship. Some are young, barely tasting the bitterness of survival, still trembling with fear and curiosity. They speak in whispers, half laughter, half sighs, sharing stories that will vanish with the morning light. Tales of men who stumbled and cursed, of coins lost and gained, of scraps of bread shared between them. Each voice carries a rhythm of survival, a cadence that has persisted across alleys and decades, unseen by the world outside. One woman, Marion, leans forward, her hair hanging loose, streaked with ash and smoke. She laughs, a sound rough but genuine, and recounts a moment from the previous night. A man who mistook a hat for her head and kissed the air instead, stumbling backward into a chair. The women laugh softly, careful not to draw attention, their mirth a secret rebellion against the weight of the world. In these moments, she feels something she rarely admits to herself, a fragile warmth. A sense that, even in the harshest life, camaraderie can bloom, small and resilient, like a single flower growing through the cracks of a stone wall. And for a fleeting breath, she allows herself to remember other things. Sunlight on her face in a village long forgotten, the laughter of children, the soft touch of her mother's hand. Yet the world waits beyond the tavern door. Coins must be earned. Survival cannot pause for memory. And so, after a while, they rise, their shared moment of solace folding quietly back into silence. Each woman steps back into the rhythm of work, of waiting, of enduring. Because this life does not stop, and neither can they. The sun climbs higher, pale and unyielding. The streets are alive now, with merchants shouting, wheels scraping, animals braying, and children chasing fleeting scraps of warmth from the day. She walks among it, blending into the tapestry of the town, yet entirely separate from it. A client waits near a corner, fidgeting, uncertain. She approaches, measured, aware of every shadow, every echo, every passing gaze. Their exchange is brief, practiced, almost ritualistic. Words, gestures, coins, all pass like a current she has learned to navigate without becoming swept away. Inside the small room, the same cycle repeats. She offers what is needed, withholding what cannot be given. Her mind drifts, as always, to distant fields, to forgotten faces, to moments when life seemed simpler. She does not allow sorrow to linger, it would make the work impossible. Instead, she folds it into the rhythm, letting it reside quietly in the corners of her consciousness. The man leaves, satisfied or indifferent, it is hard to tell. She counts the coin, presses it against her chest briefly, a small talisman against hunger. Then she steps back into the streets, another figure among many, carrying a life too heavy for most to comprehend. The sun dips low, turning the sky to molten gray and copper. She returns to the tavern, shoulders heavy, hands worn, eyes sharp despite fatigue. Inside, the warmth of fire and human noise wraps around her, familiar and suffocating all at once. The other women notice her arrival, nods exchanged, small gestures of solidarity. They gather, sharing brief stories of the day, successes, disappointments, humor, sorrow. In their voices is a rhythm older than the stones beneath their feet, a rhythm of endurance. She sits quietly, listening, feeling the pulse of the room, absorbing the fleeting comfort of companionship. For a moment, the world outside, cold, indifferent, hungry, slips away. Here, there is laughter, there is understanding, there is a shared acknowledgement that survival is itself a form of courage. Later, when the tavern quiets, when the men stumble away to their beds or to the street, she remains, alone with shadows. The candle flickers, casting long, trembling shapes on the walls. She sits on the edge of the pallet, counting coins again, tracing the weight of another day survived. Her mind wanders, drifting over memories that do not belong to this life, the laughter of childhood, a river flowing quietly past a village she once knew, the smell of grass and bread and spring rain. And she wonders, not for the first time, if another life is possible, if the world might one day bend kindly toward her. Yet she knows survival is the only certainty. Each coin, each smile given, each touch endured, is a thread in the fragile fabric that keeps her alive. And so she breathes slowly, deliberately, feeling the rhythm of her own heartbeat against the hush of the night. The night deepens. The town sleeps fitfully, shivering under the weight of its own history. She wraps herself in her thin shawl, curling against the cold wall, letting the few remaining embers of candlelight settle her eyes. Tonight, like every night, she will dream briefly, of warmth, of safety, of laughter not stolen by hunger or fear. And when the dawn comes, she will rise again, stepping into the streets with weary grace, facing the endless cycle of waiting, bargaining, enduring, surviving. Her life is a quiet testament, unmarked by history, unnamed by fame. Yet in the small, unremarkable acts of persistence, of movement through streets and alleys, of shared whispers and stolen smiles, she leaves a trace, a faint echo in the heartbeat of the medieval city. And in that echo there is life. And in that life, there is the infinite patience of the human spirit, bending but never breaking, enduring the weight of a world too often cruel, and finding, somehow, a way to exist. The first light seeps weakly between the leaning rooftops, painting the cobblestones with a pale, cold gold. She stirs, lifting her weary body from the straw that offers little comfort, feeling the chill of the dawn seep through her thin garments. Each joint protests, each bone reminds her of nights spent bending to the rhythms of another's desires, of hours counting coins instead of sheep, of breaths measured to survive. She steps outside, the air crisp and unyielding. Smoke drifts from chimneys, carrying the mingled scents of burned peat, morning bread, and damp straw. The streets are quiet at first, holding their breath before the day awakens fully. She walks with deliberate care, her eyes scanning the narrow alleys, familiar faces already stirring, dogs stretching, carts creaking as vendors prepare their wares. Her mind drifts to yesterday, to every fleeting smile, every coin collected, every moment endured. Hunger is a constant shadow, pressing close, whispering that the day will demand more than she can give. Yet she moves forward as always, tracing the worn stones beneath her feet, feeling the rhythm of survival pulse through her body, through her soul. She reaches the tavern, now awakening with the promise of work, the murmur of men preparing for the day. And as she steps inside, she folds herself into the shadows, ready once more to navigate the currents of desire and necessity. Inside, the tavern is alive with sound, the scrape of boots on stone, the shuffle of tables, the clink of mugs, the low, murmuring conversation of men waking from nights of dreams or drink. She moves among them, careful, patient, her gaze steady. Each gesture is measured, each word chosen, each smile rehearsed. A man approaches, hesitant, fumbling with coin, his eyes a mixture of need and shame. She senses his tremor, feels the weight of his weariness, yet she does not falter. This is her rhythm, her knowledge, her domain within the small kingdom of the tavern. She guides him quietly, deftly, through the familiar motions, offering the illusion of warmth while the reality remains survival, endurance, and vigilance. Outside, the town carries on indifferent. Children run past, vendors shout, carts rattle over uneven cobblestones. But within this small, smoke-filled room, time bends differently, and she moves with a grace born not of luxury, but necessity, of repetition, of practice. Every moment is a negotiation, every breath a careful measurement of strength and patience. Between encounters, she finds brief pauses, small corners of silence where she can sit, fold her hands, and breathe. These moments are rare, yet precious, as they allow her to exist beyond the eyes of the world, to remember that she is not merely a shadow of others' desires. She listens to the laughter of other women, sharing stories, subtle jokes, soft murmurs. They speak of yesterday, of mistakes, of men who stumbled and cursed, of coins lost and gained, of bread shared between them like a sacrament. In these voices, she finds the faintest warmth, a reminder that survival is not a solitary path, that even in this harsh life, camaraderie can bloom. Her thoughts drift elsewhere, fields long abandoned, rivers she once knew, the scent of rain on grass. A memory rises briefly, of laughter, of freedom, of a time before hunger pressed close and the city demanded every fragment of herself. But the pause is brief. Work calls. Hunger calls. Survival calls. And she answers, as always, the sun reaches its zenith, casting hard light and deep shadows. The streets hum with life, the tavern crowded with men and their chatter, the smell of roasting meat heavy in the air. She moves quietly among them, choosing carefully, reading gestures, scanning expressions, weighing risks. Each client is different, some brutal, some timid, some unaware of the life they enter even briefly. She knows how to protect herself, how to shield the fragile parts of her soul while giving only what is required. Each encounter is a negotiation, a dance, a silent understanding. She has learned, painfully, that endurance is not only about surviving hunger and cold, but about navigating the desires and cruelties of others with a calm, unbroken presence. Coins change hands. Hands brush. Words are spoken and swallowed. And through it all, she keeps her own rhythm, her own heartbeat, steady, measured, unbroken. For in this life, mastery is survival, and survival is grace under pressure, grace under shadow. The sun dips, washing the town in molten gold and long shadows. Men stagger from their work, returning to taverns, alehouses, and alleys. She prepares herself for the evening tide, the men returning from the fields, the workshops, the streets, hungry for warmth and escape. The tavern roars alive once more. Her sisters in survival move among the crowd, some laughing softly, some grimacing at the weight of their bodies and their work. She joins them, sharing brief smiles, short murmured stories. These connections are tiny shields, fragile, yet essential. In this fleeting communion, she finds courage, laughter, humanity, small lights in a world otherwise dim. Each client she takes in the evening carries with them a fragment of the day's exhaustion, their own hunger, their own longing. She offers the comfort they seek, while keeping her own spirit intact, a delicate balance, a silent mastery of endurance. Later, after the men have gone, after coins have been counted and tucked away, after the tavern has grown quiet once more, she sits alone. The candle burns low, casting trembling shadows that stretch across walls like echoes of past nights. She closes her eyes, letting thoughts drift. She remembers faces long gone, sisters lost or scattered, streets she has walked countless times, the smell of rain on cobblestones, the sun warming her cheeks. She thinks of freedom she may never touch, of peace that seems distant, intangible. And yet, in her chest beats a quiet certainty. She endures, she survives, she remains. The night is heavy, but within it, there is space for breath, for thought, for reflection. She traces the rhythm of her own heartbeat, a metronome against the endless pulse of the city, a reminder that she exists, that she is present, that she is unbroken. The town sleeps fitfully, shivering under the weight of history and frost. She curls against a wall, thin shawl pulled close, the faint warmth of the candle hugging her eyes closed. Tonight, like every night, dreams flicker, brief images of fields, laughter, rivers, childhood, faces forgotten and remembered. Sleep arrives slowly, carrying the residue of day's work, the weight of hunger, the rhythm of coins exchanged, the shadows of fleeting connections. She surrenders, momentarily, to the stillness, to the silence, to the fragile hope that tomorrow may be just a little gentler than today. And as the candle guttering in the corner casts its last tremulous light, she drifts into the quiet, into the darkness, into the embrace of night. Hours pass unnoticed. The city holds its breath beneath the stars, beneath the frost, beneath the faint hum of life. She sleeps lightly, body curled, mind drifting, spirit resting only briefly before the cycle begins anew. And when dawn comes, as it always does, she will rise. She will step onto the streets, into the cold, into the hum of life that does not pause for her, into the rhythm of survival that never ends. She will endure, she will navigate, she will survive. Her life is unseen by history, unrecorded in chronicles, unnamed by fame. Yet in the quiet persistence of her existence, in the small acts of courage that define each day, there is a quiet heroism. There is endurance. There is the infinite patience of the human spirit, bending but never breaking, surviving beneath indifferent skies, surviving in shadow, surviving always. The first rays of sunlight seep through the narrow slits of the tavern shutters, painting the floor with pale, golden lines. She rises slowly, body heavy with fatigue, yet accustomed to the rhythm that demands no hesitation. Each muscle remembers the toil, each joint protests, yet she moves with the quiet precision of one who has walked these streets countless times. Outside, the town awakens. Smoke curls from chimneys, merchants call out in shrill voices, Carts creak over cobblestones, and children chase fragments of bread. She walks among them, unnoticed and yet entirely present. Her senses are sharpened. Every movement, every shadow, every sound is measured. The rhythm of the city flows around her, and she is both part of it and apart from it. Inside the tavern, the familiar smells greet her: burning peat, roasting meat, smoke thick with human presence. Her sisters of survival gather, sharing whispered laughter, small stories of the night before, of men who stumbled and cursed, of coins lost and found. These interludes are fragile, precious, a reminder that even in a life dominated by necessity, warmth can bloom in quiet corners. She listens, smiles faintly, absorbs the rhythm of voices, the echoes of shared endurance. Here, she is not a shadow of desire, not a figure of necessity alone. Here, she is witness and participant, a keeper of tiny fragments of joy and resilience, however fleeting. The day grows brighter, harsher, the sun casting stark light over the town. Clients begin to wander into the tavern. Rough hands, heavy hearts, eager eyes, trembling coin. She moves among them, patient, calculating, graceful in a practiced way. Each encounter is a negotiation, a dance, a ritual of survival. She offers warmth, attention, motion, guided by years of repetition. Her mind drifts occasionally, recalling rivers, childhood laughter, faces long forgotten, yet she never falters. Survival is the present, the immediate, the tangible. Coins exchanged, moments endured, hands brushed, bodies warmed briefly before returning to the cold world outside. Each client leaves, each transaction complete, and she breathes a quiet exhale, counting coins, storing fragments of herself safely away for another day, another night. The tavern hums with life, but also with fatigue, with weariness pressed close against every wall, every floorboard. The other women move among clients, sharing silent understanding, small gestures, whispers of solidarity. She joins them in these rituals, careful not to reveal too much, careful not to let the weight of the world crush the fragile thread of endurance. She notices the smallest details, the trembling of a hand, the gaze averted, the sigh beneath a laugh. She reads each moment, each gesture, each fleeting expression, knowing that in this life, awareness is survival. She moves with care, grace, patience, and the quiet strength born of repeated hardship. And in these shadows, she finds a rhythm that is hers alone. The sun dips, throwing the town into molten amber and shadow. Men stagger home, or wander into taverns seeking warmth, release, or escape. She prepares, silently, for the evening tide. Her sisters move among the tables, sharing brief smiles, murmured stories, fragments of camaraderie in a world that offers little kindness. The clients she takes in the evening carry the weight of the day: exhaustion, longing, need. She provides the comfort they seek, while preserving her own spirit, a delicate balance of empathy and protection. Coins change hands, hands brush, words spoken and swallowed, the candlelight flickers over tired faces, over silent endurance. Evening deepens, and she moves within it like a shadow, part of the world, yet separate, a witness and a participant, enduring, surviving, alive. After the men have gone, after coins have been counted and tucked away, after the tavern quiets once more, she sits alone in the flickering candlelight. Shadows stretch and twist across walls, carrying whispers of nights past. She breathes slowly, feeling her heart, her body, her presence. She remembers the laughter of sisters, the fleeting warmth of small gestures, the faces of strangers met and left behind. She thinks of freedom she may never know, of moments of peace that slip away as dawn approaches. Yet within her chest is certainty. She endures, she survives, she persists. Her life is a quiet testimony, unmarked by history, unseen by the world, yet alive with strength, with patience, with resilience. The town sleeps under frost and silence. She curls into the narrow corner of the chamber, her thin shawl pulled close. Candlelight wavers, casting trembling shapes upon walls. She allows herself to drift into the brief solace of sleep, the fleeting warmth of dreams, fragments of rivers, childhood, laughter, moments before the weight of the world presses close again. Sleep carries her softly, as night embraces the town, and the streets lie empty but for shadows and memory. The cycle continues, unbroken, unyielding, yet in these hours, she finds her small sanctuary. For in endurance there is life, in persistence there is quiet triumph. Hours pass unnoticed. The first light creeps once more between the slats of the shutter, touching the cold floor, awakening the city. She stirs, lifting herself, aching, tired, yet ready to walk the worn streets again. The rhythm begins anew, client after client, step after step, coin after coin. Each day is the same, yet entirely unique. Each moment carries the weight of survival, the small joys of camaraderie, the brief flickers of softness, the unyielding persistence of human spirit. And she moves forward, part of the city, part of the endless flow, a witness to the world and a keeper of herself. The streets hum with life and labor. The tavern breathes, alive with voices, laughter, sighs. She moves among men and women, her presence measured, deliberate, her eyes calm, her hands steady. Each encounter carries the same rhythm, giving, taking, surviving. Her sisters share glances, small gestures, whispered understanding. She pauses sometimes, listening, breathing, allowing herself a fleeting respite from necessity. The city continues, unobservant, uncaring, yet within its pulse she finds the cadence of her own endurance, her own quiet defiance, her own living testimony. The sun dips again, the town bathed in amber and shadow. Men return, weary from labor, seeking warmth, release, escape. She prepares, moving quietly, skillfully, gracefully. Coins will change hands, moments will be endured, hands will brush, words will pass silently. And when the tavern quiets, when candlelight flickers low, when shadows stretch long and still, she sits alone. Breath measured, mind wandering, body tired, spirit unbroken. She counts coins, traces fragments of memory, feels the rhythm of survival echo through her. Sleep approaches. Dawn will come. The cycle will continue. Yet in this quiet, in this shadow, in this flickering light, there is life. There is persistence. There is strength. There is the quiet triumph of simply existing in a world that often wishes to forget her. The town is draped in the fragile glow of early morning, a light that seems unsure of itself, brushing the cobblestones with timid fingers. She rises slowly, each movement deliberate, each breath measured, as though her body remembers all the nights endured, all the streets walked, all the coins counted and treasured. The chill bites at her skin, yet she moves forward, stepping lightly over stones worn by centuries of footsteps, over alleys echoing faintly with memories she cannot name. Smoke rises from chimneys, carrying scents of peat and bread, of life and labor, drifting lazily into the awakening sky. The streets are quiet but for the distant cry of a vendor, the clatter of carts, the far-off laughter of children chasing scraps. She moves with grace, measured, blending into the rhythm of the town, aware of every shadow, every glimmer of movement, every possibility that the day may demand more than she can bear. And yet she walks, as she always has, navigating the world with patience, wit, and the quiet resilience that has become her lifeblood. Inside the tavern, the air is thick with the aroma of roasted meat, spilled ale, and the faint musk of humanity pressed together in survival. The women gather, forming small circles of understanding, their faces marked by exhaustion yet softened by fleeting laughter, whispered tales, tiny moments of connection. Clients begin to wander in, hesitant, uncertain, carrying the weight of labor, the burden of desire, the quiet shame of their own humanity. She approaches each with practiced calm, offering warmth, attention, presence, while keeping her own spirit intact. Every gesture is deliberate, every word measured, every smile precise. She gives what is required, withholding what cannot be surrendered. Time stretches differently here, each moment expanded by awareness, each encounter a subtle negotiation. Hands brush, coins change possession, sighs are breathed, and she moves through it all with quiet mastery, the rhythm of survival pulsing through her like a heartbeat in sync with the tavern itself. Between the rush of clients, she finds small spaces of quiet, tiny corners where she can sit and breathe, where the weight of necessity loosens just enough to allow thought to wander. She listens to her sisters, sharing small stories, brief laughter, the fleeting warmth of solidarity. She recalls the rivers of her childhood, the gentle flow of water over stones, the sunlight filtering through leaves, the taste of bread still warm from the oven, the soft laughter of a mother long gone. These memories are fragile, ephemeral, yet they anchor her, remind her that beyond survival, there exists a life that is hers, however briefly. Yet hunger waits, duty waits, the city waits. And so she rises again, stepping back into the rhythm of work, into the careful navigation of desire, endurance, and self-preservation. The sun climbs high, casting stark shadows across the alleys and streets. The tavern hums with the voices of men returning from labor, seeking warmth, escape, relief. She approaches each encounter with skill, a quiet understanding of the delicate balance between giving and guarding, between presence and protection. Each client is a story unto themselves, some impatient, some timid, some unaware of the life they briefly enter. She reads their movements, their hesitation, their sighs, their subtle gestures, guiding each interaction with care. Coins change hands, hands brush fleetingly, murmured words vanish into the thick air. And throughout it all, she moves with the quiet dignity of survival, with patience honed by necessity, with resilience forged by countless nights and days like this, each one a repetition of endurance, a testament to life beneath indifferent skies. As the sun dips low, the town softens into molten gold and muted shadow. Men stagger from their work, wander into the tavern, seeking warmth, release, momentary comfort. She prepares, silently, for the tide of evening, aware that each encounter will demand focus, grace, and presence. Her sisters move among them, sharing brief smiles, small gestures, whispered stories. These tiny acts of connection form a fragile web, supporting them in the harshness of the world outside. She joins, nods, listens, offers faint warmth, and preserves the part of herself that remains unbroken, unseen, steadfast. Coins are collected, hands brush, sighs are breathed. The candlelight flickers over tired faces, over silent endurance, over the quiet triumph of surviving another day in a city that often forgets them. When the last men have left, the tavern is quiet once more. She sits alone in the flickering candlelight, shadows stretching long and trembling across walls. She breathes slowly, feeling her body, her heartbeat, her presence, tracing the rhythm of endurance that carries her through each day. Her mind drifts, faces of sisters lost or scattered, laughter from nights past, streets walked countless times, rivers remembered, childhood scents, fleeting moments of peace. She holds these memories lightly, like fragile birds, allowing them to exist without letting them weigh her down. She knows tomorrow will demand the same, that the cycle will continue, that survival is never suspended. And yet, in this quiet reflection, she senses the unbroken strength of her own spirit, the patient persistence that defines her existence. The town settles under the deep velvet of night, frost forming upon rooftops, silence stretching over cobblestones. She curls into the narrow corner of her chamber, the thin shawl pulled tight around her body. Candlelight flickers, trembling in the dark, echoing the faint pulse of her thoughts, the rhythm of a life defined by endurance. Sleep drifts slowly, carrying the residue of labor, hunger, whispered laughter, fleeting warmth, brief human connection. Her body relaxes, her mind floats between memory and dream, tracing rivers of childhood, faces forgotten, moments of freedom almost remembered. Here, in the quiet, in the shadows, in the gentle embrace of night, she finds solace. Not escape, but sanctuary, a brief pause before the world calls again, before dawn demands its due. In the deep hours, when even the tavern sleeps, she lies awake for a while, listening to the faint rhythm of the town, the distant echo of footsteps, the soft rustle of animals in alleyways. Her mind drifts, reflecting on each day survived, each coin earned, each smile shared, and each hardship endured. The weight of her life presses gently but unyieldingly against her bones, yet in that weight there is clarity. She knows what she must do, what she must endure, what she must protect. The world is indifferent, yet she persists. The city may forget her name, may overlook her existence, yet she continues, breathing, moving, surviving, enduring. The night deepens, stars faint above rooftops, and the town rests under frost and shadow. She curls tighter, eyes closing briefly, body tired but mind alert to every sound, every movement. Dreams arrive, soft, fragmentary, carrying glimpses of rivers, childhood laughter, soft sunlight on grass, fleeting warmth of hands once held. These moments of respite are brief, yet precious, offering her a chance to remember that beyond survival, there is a life imagined, a freedom longed for, a small spark of hope that carries her through the relentless cycles of labor, necessity, and endurance. Hours pass quietly. The city stirs beneath frost and early light. She rises once more, weary, aching, yet moving with the precision born of countless repetitions, countless days and nights of survival. The rhythm begins anew, clients, coins, hands, whispers, moments endured. The city does not pause for her, yet she moves within it with quiet mastery. Each step, each gesture, each breath is a testament to resilience. Her life may be unseen, unrecorded, forgotten by history, yet in the persistence of each day, in the endurance of her spirit, there is strength, there is courage, there is quiet triumph. And as dawn spreads pale and uncertain over the town, she walks into the day once more, unbroken, enduring, alive. The first pale light seeps into the city, brushing the cobblestones with a timid glow. She rises slowly, each movement deliberate, each breath measured, her body heavy but trained by the rhythm of countless mornings. The chill nips at her skin, reminding her that warmth is a luxury she seldom enjoys, yet she steps forward, guided by instinct, by necessity, by the quiet endurance that has become her lifeblood. Smoke curls from chimneys, mingling with the faint scent of baking bread and damp earth. The streets hum softly as the town awakens, vendors calling, carts creaking, children chasing stray pieces of warmth or scraps of bread. She moves among it all, careful, attentive, a shadow blending into the rhythm of life, yet entirely aware of every flicker, every gesture, every possibility that this day may demand more than she can give. The tavern greets her with its familiar heaviness, the mingling aromas of roasted meat, spilled ale, smoke thick with human presence. She joins her sisters, each face marked by exhaustion yet softened by fleeting laughter and whispered tales. These moments are precious, fragile interludes of warmth and connection, reminders that even in a life dictated by survival, companionship can bloom in small, unexpected ways. Clients begin to appear, tentative, carrying the weight of labor, desire, and embarrassment. She approaches with calm precision, offering warmth, attention, and presence, while safeguarding the core of herself that remains unbroken. Every movement is deliberate, every word measured, every smile carefully given. She gives what must be given, protects what must be guarded, navigating each encounter with a quiet mastery born of necessity. The sun climbs high, harsh light casting stark shadows across the town. The tavern hums with voices and movement, a blend of labor, hunger, need, and fleeting amusement. She moves through it all with care, observing, listening, understanding the subtle currents that dictate interactions. Every client carries his own story, some impatient, some timid, some unaware of the life they briefly enter. She senses the nuances, the tremor of a hand, the quick glance, the sigh barely released. Coins change hands, hands brush, words are spoken and swallowed. She moves gracefully, mastering the rhythm of survival, patience, and self-preservation. In the repetition, in the endurance, she finds a quiet dignity, a steady heartbeat in sync with the pulse of the tavern, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Between the rush of clients, she discovers fleeting moments of stillness. Small corners of quiet where she can sit, breathe, and gather her strength. Her sisters speak in whispers, sharing stories of past nights, laughter folded into sighs, the comfort of shared endurance. She allows her mind to drift, recalling rivers she once knew, sunlight filtering through leaves, the warmth of bread, laughter from a childhood long gone. These memories are ephemeral, yet grounding, reminders that beyond survival, beyond necessity, there exists a life imagined, a life remembered, a life quietly alive within her. But the pause is brief. Hunger calls, duty calls, survival calls. She rises again, stepping back into the rhythm of labor, desire, and endurance. The sun sinks, spreading molten amber over the town, deepening shadows, sharpening contrasts. Men return from work, seeking warmth, relief, escape. She prepares quietly, deliberately, for the tide of evening encounters. Each gesture, each word, each motion is honed by experience, each encounter a negotiation between presence and protection, giving and withholding. Her sisters move among the crowd, exchanging nods, smiles, small gestures, a web of fragile solidarity. She joins them, sharing the unspoken understanding of endurance, of survival, of persistence. Coins pass, hands brush, murmurs float in the air. In these moments, she finds the faintest warmth, a secret reminder that even in hardship, human connection persists, delicate but unyielding. After the last clients depart, after coins are tucked away, the tavern grows quiet. She sits alone, candlelight flickering, casting long, trembling shadows that stretch across walls like memories of nights past. Breath slow, measured, she feels her body, her heartbeat, her presence. Her thoughts drift over faces of sisters, friends scattered by circumstance, streets walked countless times, rivers she may never see again. She remembers fleeting moments of warmth, laughter, freedom, and peace. These memories, fragile yet persistent, offer solace. She knows tomorrow will demand the same endurance, the same vigilance, the same rhythm of survival. Yet within her chest beats certainty. She survives, she persists, she endures. The town rests under the deep velvet of night, frost forming on rooftops, silence stretching over cobblestones. She curls into the narrow corner of her chamber, shawl wrapped tight, candlelight quivering softly. Sleep approaches slowly, carrying the weight of the day, the echoes of laughter, the remnants of fleeting warmth. Her body relaxes, yet her mind remains alert, tracing moments of connection, endurance, survival. In the quiet of the night, she feels the rhythm of her own spirit, steady, patient, unbroken, a testament to the strength that defines her existence in a world that often overlooks her. Hours pass. Shadows drift across walls, candlelight flickers low, and she drifts between consciousness and dream. Memories rise, rivers, childhood laughter, sunlight on leaves, faces of those long gone. These fragments of life remind her that beyond survival, there is imagination, longing, and the quiet hope of a life lived fully, even if unseen. Sleep is light, yet restorative. Her body rests, her mind wanders, and for a brief interlude, she is untethered from the demands of labor and necessity. In this fragile space, she remembers the resilience that has carried her through countless days, the strength that anchors her in the relentless cycle of survival. The night softens, stars faint above rooftops, the city holding its breath beneath frost and shadow. She stirs slightly, eyes closing briefly, body curled, mind alert. Dreams drift in fragments, sunlight, laughter, rivers, warmth, fleeting moments of freedom. These pre-dawn moments are rare, precious, a reminder that even in a life dictated by survival, there is space for reflection, for imagination, for hope. Her chest rises and falls slowly, rhythmically, a quiet metronome amidst the silence of the sleeping city. As first light touches the rooftops, she rises once more, weary yet resolute. The cycle begins again. Clients, coins, hands, whispers, endurance. The streets may be indifferent, the world may overlook her, yet she moves within it with mastery, patience, grace. Each step, each breath, each motion is a testament to resilience, a quiet triumph of the human spirit. Though unseen by history, unrecorded in chronicles, unnamed by fame, she exists. She endures. She survives. And as dawn spreads pale and uncertain over the town, she walks into the day once more, unbroken, patient, alive. The soft light of dawn creeps into the town, spilling over cobblestones and wooden shutters. She rises slowly, limbs heavy with yesterday's labor, yet accustomed to the rhythm that demands no hesitation. Every movement is deliberate, every breath measured, a dance of endurance and awareness. The streets awaken quietly, merchants calling, carts creaking, children laughing and chasing fragments of bread. Smoke drifts lazily from chimneys, carrying warmth and life into the awakening day. She steps into it all, blending with shadows, attentive to every motion, every whisper, every possibility the day may unfold. Her presence is quiet, yet entirely alive, a witness to the city's pulse. The tavern greets her with familiar scents, roasting meat, spilled ale, and the faint musk of humanity pressed close. She joins her sisters of survival, faces marked by exhaustion yet softened by fleeting laughter and whispered stories. These small moments are fragile, precious, a reminder that even in hardship, warmth persists. Clients begin to arrive, hesitant, uncertain, carrying the burdens of labor, desire, and shame. She meets each with calm, deliberate gestures, offering presence, attention, and fleeting comfort while preserving the essence of herself. Every word measured, every smile precise, each interaction a careful negotiation of survival, patience, and resilience. The sun rises higher, casting stark light across the streets. The tavern hums with voices, footsteps, and subtle tension. Each client carries his own story, impatience, need, longing, and sometimes despair. She moves among them with grace, understanding the subtle rhythms of interaction, guiding each encounter with practiced hands and careful attention. Coins exchange, hands brush briefly, murmured words vanish into thick air. In the repetition, in the endurance, she finds quiet dignity, a rhythm that anchors her amidst the flux of human desire and necessity. Here, survival is an art, patience a virtue, and every day a testament to the resilience of the spirit. Between the surge of visitors, she discovers small pockets of quiet. She retreats to corners where candlelight dances, sharing whispered laughter and fleeting stories with her sisters. These fragile interludes remind her of shared humanity, of moments of connection in a life dictated by necessity. Her mind wanders to rivers once crossed, sunlight glinting on water, the laughter of children long forgotten, the taste of bread still warm from an oven. These memories are delicate, ephemeral, yet grounding. They allow her to breathe, to remember, to endure. The pause is brief, the day will demand attention again. She rises, moving back into the rhythm of work, survival, and resilience. As the sun dips, the city bathes in molten amber, deep shadows stretching long. Men return from labor, seeking warmth, comfort, and distraction. She prepares, quietly, deliberately, for the tide of evening encounters. Each movement, word, and gesture is refined by experience, a delicate balance between giving and withholding, presence and protection. Her sisters move among clients, sharing nods and brief smiles, creating a fragile network of solidarity. Coins pass, hands brush, sighs are exhaled. In these fleeting moments, she finds quiet warmth and reassurance, knowing that in shared endurance there is strength, and in persistence there is life. The tavern quiets. The last clients depart, leaving behind traces of heat, scent, and whispered tension. She sits alone in the flickering candlelight, shadows dancing across walls like echoes of countless nights endured. She breathes slowly, attuned to her body, her heartbeat, her presence, tracing the rhythm of survival that courses through her. Her thoughts drift to sisters scattered by fate, streets walked countless times, rivers never revisited, and moments of fleeting joy. These fragile memories offer comfort, a reminder that tomorrow will demand resilience once more. Yet in her chest, certainty remains. She survives, she endures, she persists, a quiet triumph in a world that rarely notices. The town sleeps beneath velvet shadows. Frost forms upon rooftops, silence stretches over cobblestones. She curls into her narrow chamber, shawl wrapped tight, candlelight flickering softly. Sleep approaches, carrying fragments of the day, exhaustion, fleeting laughter, brief warmth, silent endurance. Her body relaxes, yet her mind remains attuned, tracing the rhythm of survival, persistence, and human connection. In the quiet, she senses her spirit's steady pulse, a testament to strength, patience, and the subtle victories woven through countless days and nights. In the quiet hours, when the tavern sleeps and streets are empty, she lies awake, listening to the soft rhythm of the town. Footsteps in distant alleys, rustle of animals, faint wind over rooftops. Memories rise, rivers, childhood laughter, warmth, fleeting freedom. These fragments remind her that beyond survival, imagination and hope endure. Sleep arrives lightly, restorative yet vigilant. She rests, mind wandering through gentle dreams, recalling the resilience that carries her through endless cycles of labor, necessity, and endurance. In these fragile hours, she embraces the subtle triumph of simply existing. The night deepens, stars fading into pre-dawn light. The city holds its breath beneath frost and silence. She curls tighter, eyes closing, body still alert to faint noises. Dreams drift in fragments, sunlight on water, laughter of long-lost days, fleeting warmth, gentle voices. These pre-dawn moments are rare treasures, allowing her to remember that even in hardship, beauty persists, fleeting yet indelible. Her heartbeat slows, breath measured, a metronome in the stillness of sleeping streets, marking the passage of endurance and quiet hope. The first pale rays of sunlight touch the rooftops, spilling over streets and alleys. She rises again, weary but resolute, stepping into the rhythm of survival. The cycle begins anew, clients, coins, gestures, whispers, moments endured. Though unseen, unrecorded, forgotten by history, she exists. She survives. She endures. Each step, each breath, each moment is a quiet triumph, a testament to resilience, patience, and strength. Dawn spreads uncertain light over the town, and she walks into it once more, alive, unbroken, persistent, a living testament to the enduring human spirit. The city awakens slowly beneath a pale veil of mist. Cobblestones glisten faintly with dew, chimneys release lazy curls of smoke, and the first soft cries of merchants fill the streets. She rises from the narrow chamber, her body heavy yet trained by countless repetitions, each movement deliberate, each breath measured. The chill presses against her skin, a quiet reminder of the fragility of warmth, yet she steps forward, guided by the rhythm of necessity. Children chase stray scraps along alleyways, carts creak, vendors call, and she moves within this pulse, attentive to shadows, sounds, and fleeting gestures, her presence quiet yet wholly alive, a witness to the town's awakening. The tavern hums softly, a sanctuary of familiarity and necessity. Roasted meat, spilled ale, and the faint musk of human presence mingle in the air. She joins her sisters, each face marked by exhaustion yet softened by laughter, whispered stories, fleeting connections. These moments are fragile, yet essential, tiny threads of warmth woven into a life dictated by endurance. Clients begin to arrive, hesitant, uncertain, bearing burdens of labor, longing, and shame. She meets each with calm precision, offering presence and fleeting comfort while guarding the essence of herself. Every gesture is deliberate, every word measured, each interaction a delicate dance between survival and preservation of spirit. The sun climbs higher, casting stark light across streets and alleys. The tavern hums with voices, footsteps, sighs. Each client carries a story: impatience, longing, desire, and sometimes despair. She moves among them with quiet grace, sensing the subtle currents of human behavior, guiding each encounter with practiced hands and attentive eyes. Coins change hands, hands brush briefly, murmurs float and vanish. In the repetition, in the endurance, she discovers quiet dignity. Each day is a testament to patience, skill, and the persistence of life, a rhythm that anchors her amidst the flux of need, desire, and survival. Between the surge of clients, she finds brief interludes of stillness. She retreats to corners where candlelight flickers, sharing whispered laughter and stories with her sisters. These moments remind her of shared humanity, fleeting yet vital, fragile yet enduring. Her mind drifts to rivers once crossed, sunlight glinting on water, warm bread, laughter of childhood long past. These memories are delicate, ephemeral, yet grounding. They offer her strength, allowing her to endure, to breathe, to remember the life that exists beyond necessity. But the pause is brief. The day resumes, demanding her full presence once more. The sun descends, painting the city in molten amber, stretching long shadows across alleys and rooftops. Men return from labor, seeking warmth, distraction, solace. She prepares quietly, deliberately, for the evening tide. Each movement, word, gesture honed by experience, balancing giving and withholding, presence and self-preservation. Her sisters move among the men, exchanging nods, fleeting smiles, whispers of understanding. Coins pass, hands brush, sighs are released. In this quiet communion of endurance, she senses a subtle warmth, a reminder that in shared hardship, strength persists, fragile yet resilient. The tavern quiets, clients dispersed, leaving traces of warmth and faint fragrance behind. She sits alone in the flickering candlelight, shadows stretching across walls, tracing shapes like memories of nights endured. Breath slow, measured, she feels her body, heartbeat, and presence. Thoughts drift to sisters scattered by circumstance, streets traversed countless times, rivers never seen again, fleeting moments of comfort and joy. These fragile memories offer solace, a reminder that tomorrow will demand the same endurance, the same vigilance, the same rhythm of survival. Yet certainty pulses within her chest. She survives, she endures, she persists. The town rests beneath a dark velvet sky. Frost creeps over rooftops, silence stretches across cobblestones. She curls into the narrow chamber, shawl drawn tight. Candlelight flickers low, casting long, wavering shadows. Sleep approaches slowly, carrying fragments of the day, exhaustion, laughter, brief warmth, silent endurance. Her body relaxes, yet her mind remains attuned, tracing the subtle rhythm of survival. In the quiet, she feels her own pulse, steady, patient, unbroken, a testament to the strength and resilience that define her existence in a world often indifferent to her presence. In the deep hours, when even the tavern sleeps, she lies awake, listening to distant footsteps, rustling animals, the soft sigh of wind over rooftops. Memories arise, rivers, laughter, sunlight, fleeting warmth. These fragments remind her that beyond survival, hope and imagination endure. Sleep comes lightly, restorative yet vigilant. She rests, mind drifting through gentle dreams, recalling the resilience that has carried her through endless cycles of labor, necessity, and endurance. In these fragile hours, she embraces the subtle victories of existing, breathing, moving, persisting. The night softens into pale pre-dawn light. Stars fade above rooftops. The city holds its breath beneath frost and silence. She curls tighter, eyes closing, body alert. Dreams arrive in fragments, sunlight on water, childhood laughter, gentle warmth, fleeting freedom. These moments are rare treasures, offering a reminder that even in hardship, beauty persists, delicate yet indelible. Her chest rises and falls slowly, breath measured, a steady metronome in the stillness, marking endurance, patience, and quiet hope. The first rays of sunlight brush the rooftops, spilling across streets and alleys. She rises once more, body weary but spirit intact, stepping into the rhythm of survival. Clients, coins, gestures, whispers, the cycle begins anew. Though unseen, unrecorded, forgotten by history, she exists. She survives. She endures. Every step, every breath, every moment is a quiet triumph, a testament to resilience, patience, and human strength. Dawn spreads uncertain light over the town, and she walks into it once more, alive, unbroken, persistent, a living testament to endurance. The town wakes slowly, wrapped in a misty embrace of dawn. Cobblestones glisten faintly with dew, chimneys exhale gentle curls of smoke, and the distant murmur of merchants fills the air. She rises from her narrow bed, limbs heavy but accustomed to motion. Each movement is deliberate, each breath measured, a rhythm honed by necessity and countless repetitions. The chill presses softly against her skin, reminding her of warmth's fragility, yet she steps forward, blending into the awakening streets, attentive to every shadow, sound, and subtle gesture. She moves with quiet purpose, her presence a silent thread woven into the town's slow pulse, a witness to life in all its fleeting moments. The tavern greets her with familiar scents, roasted meat, spilled ale, and the lingering aroma of humanity pressed close. She joins her sisters of survival, their faces marked by fatigue yet softened by whispered laughter and shared stories. These moments are fragile, fleeting, yet essential, small threads of warmth in a life dictated by endurance. Clients begin to drift in, hesitant, uncertain, bearing the weight of labor, longing, and shame. She meets each with calm, measured gestures, offering presence and subtle comfort while guarding her own spirit. Every word measured, every smile precise, each interaction a careful balance between survival and the preservation of self. The sun climbs higher, light slicing across streets and alleys. The tavern hums with voices, footsteps, sighs, and the quiet tension of unspoken desires. Each client carries a story, impatience, need, longing, occasionally despair. She moves among them with grace, attuned to the subtle currents of interaction, guiding each encounter with skillful hands and attentive eyes. Coins change hands, hands brush, murmurs vanish into the thickened air. In the repetition, she finds quiet dignity, a rhythm that anchors her amidst the flux of human desire, necessity, and survival. Each day becomes a testament to patience, skill, and the enduring pulse of life. Between the wave of visitors, she discovers brief interludes of stillness. She retreats to dim corners where candlelight dances, sharing whispered words and fleeting smiles with her sisters. These fragile moments remind her of humanity's persistence, small sparks of connection in a life dictated by need. Her mind drifts to rivers once crossed, sunlight glinting upon water, laughter of children long forgotten, bread warm from an oven. These memories, delicate and ephemeral, anchor her, offering strength to endure, to breathe, to remember that life exists beyond survival. The pause is brief, duty calls, and she returns to the rhythm once more. The sun lowers, casting the city in molten amber, shadows stretching long and trembling across rooftops and alleys. Men return from labor, seeking warmth, distraction, momentary solace. She prepares quietly for the evening tide. Each movement, each gesture, each word honed by repetition, balancing giving and withholding, presence and self-protection. Her sisters drift among the clients, exchanging nods, smiles, whispers, forming a fragile network of resilience. Coins pass, hands brush, sighs exhaled. Within this communion of survival, she finds warmth and reassurance, a reminder that strength persists even in shared hardship. The tavern quiets, clients dispersed, leaving traces of warmth and lingering scent. She sits alone in flickering candlelight, shadows stretching across walls, echoing nights endured. Breath slow, measured, she feels her body, heartbeat, presence, tracing the rhythm of survival that courses through her. Thoughts drift to sisters scattered by circumstance, Streets walked countless times, rivers never revisited, moments of fleeting comfort. These fragile memories offer solace, a reminder that tomorrow demands resilience, vigilance, and persistence. Yet certainty pulses within her chest. She survives, she endures, she persists. The town rests beneath a velvet sky. Frost creeps across rooftops, silence stretches over cobblestones. She curls into her narrow chamber, shawl wrapped tight, candlelight flickering softly. Sleep approaches slowly, carrying remnants of the day, exhaustion, fleeting warmth, whispered laughter, quiet endurance. Her body relaxes, yet her mind remains attentive, tracing the subtle rhythm of survival. In the quiet, she senses her own pulse, steady, patient, unbroken, a testament to strength, patience, and the persistence of life in a world indifferent to her presence. In the hours when even the tavern slumbers, she lies awake, listening to distant footsteps, rustling animals, the sigh of wind over rooftops. Memories arise, rivers, laughter, sunlight, fleeting warmth, freedom barely grasped. These fragments remind her that beyond survival, hope and imagination persist. Sleep comes lightly, restorative yet vigilant. She rests, mind wandering through gentle dreams, recalling resilience that carries her through cycles of labor, necessity, and endurance. In these fragile hours, she embraces the subtle victories of simply existing, breathing, moving, persisting. The night softens into pre-dawn light. Stars fade above rooftops, city holding its breath beneath frost and silence. She curls tighter, eyes closed, body alert. Dreams arrive in gentle fragments, sunlight on water, laughter of childhood, fleeting warmth, gentle voices. These rare moments are treasures, reminders that even in hardship, beauty endures, delicate yet indelible. Her chest rises and falls slowly, breath measured, a quiet metronome in the stillness, marking endurance, patience, and fragile hope. The first rays of sunlight touch rooftops, spilling across streets and alleys. She rises once more, weary yet resolute, stepping into the rhythm of survival. The cycle begins anew, clients, coins, gestures, whispers, moments endured. Though unseen, unrecorded, forgotten by history, she exists. She survives. She endures. Every step, every breath, every motion is a quiet triumph, a testament to resilience, patience, and human strength. Dawn spreads uncertain light over the town, and she walks into it once more, alive, unbroken, persistent, a living testament to endurance. The town awakens beneath a fragile, misty light. Cobblestones glisten faintly with dew, and the chimneys release gentle spirals of smoke into the soft dawn. She rises slowly, body aching but trained by countless repetitions, every movement deliberate, every breath measured. The air is cold, biting, yet she moves forward with quiet purpose, aware of every sound, shadow, and subtle gesture. Children run along alleys chasing crumbs, carts creak under laboring hands, merchants call softly, and she becomes part of the rhythm, a silent observer of the world coming alive. Each step, each breath, a testament to endurance, a whisper of life carried through quiet resilience. The tavern greets her with the familiar mix of aromas, roasted meat, spilled ale, and the lingering scent of human presence pressed close. She joins her sisters, weary faces softened by quiet laughter and whispered stories. These moments are delicate, fleeting, yet essential, small sparks of warmth and camaraderie in a life shaped by survival. Clients begin to appear, hesitant, burdened by labor, longing, desire, and shame. She meets each with calm, deliberate gestures, offering attention, warmth, and presence, while shielding the core of herself that must remain unbroken. Every word is chosen, every smile precise, each interaction a careful negotiation of survival, patience, and resilience. The sun climbs high, light spilling across cobblestones, illuminating streets and alleys. The tavern hums with voices, footsteps, sighs, tension, and unspoken desire. Each client carries a story, impatience, longing, fleeting hope, or quiet despair. She moves with subtle grace, sensing the currents beneath each gesture, each glance, guiding every interaction with attentive hands and practiced eyes. Coins change hands, brief touches pass, murmurs dissipate into the thick air. Repetition becomes ritual, endurance a craft, dignity preserved in the quiet mastery of her labor. In this rhythm, she discovers a fragile triumph, a heartbeat of life anchored amidst human need, desire, and persistence. Between the wave of clients, she finds small islands of quiet. She retreats to corners where candlelight flickers, exchanging whispered stories, small laughter, and fleeting smiles with her sisters. These fragile moments remind her of shared humanity, ephemeral yet vital, threads of warmth interwoven with necessity. Her mind drifts to rivers she once crossed, sunlight glinting over gentle waves, the laughter of children long gone, the taste of fresh bread warm from the oven. These memories are delicate, ephemeral, grounding her, reminding her that life stretches beyond labor, beyond survival. But the pause is brief, the rhythm demands her attention again. The sun descends slowly, molten amber spilling across rooftops, deepening shadows, stretching alleyways long and trembling. Men return from labor, seeking warmth, comfort, fleeting solace. She prepares quietly, deliberately, for the tide of evening encounters. Every motion, gesture, word honed by experience, balancing giving and withholding, presence and self-preservation. Her sisters drift among the clients, exchanging nods, quiet smiles, whispered understanding, forming a delicate web of endurance. Coins pass, hands brush, sighs exhaled. In these moments, she senses warmth, reassurance, the unspoken strength that persists in shared hardship, fragile yet resilient. The tavern grows quiet, clients dispersed, leaving traces of warmth, faint perfume, and soft echoes behind. She sits alone in flickering candlelight, shadows stretching across walls, tracing shapes like memories of nights endured. Breath slow, measured, she feels her body, heartbeat, presence, tracing the rhythm of survival coursing through her. Her thoughts wander to sisters scattered by fate, streets walked countless times, rivers never revisited, fleeting moments of comfort and laughter. These delicate memories offer solace, a reminder that tomorrow will demand the same vigilance, resilience, and patience. Yet certainty pulses within her chest. She survives, she endures, she persists. The town sleeps under a thick velvet sky. Frost creeps over rooftops, stretching across alleys. She curls into her narrow chamber, shawl wrapped tightly, candlelight flickering low. Sleep arrives slowly, carrying the weight of the day, exhaustion, fleeting warmth, whispered laughter, silent endurance. Her body relaxes, yet her mind remains vigilant, attuned to the rhythm of survival. In the quiet, she feels the pulse of her spirit, steady, patient, unbroken, a quiet triumph of resilience, patience, and the subtle victories hidden within the routines of life. In the deep hours, when even the tavern sleeps, she lies awake, listening to distant footsteps, rustling animals, sighs of wind over rooftops. Memories rise, rivers, laughter, sunlight, fleeting warmth, freedom glimpsed and lost. These fragments remind her that beyond survival, imagination and hope endure, delicate yet persistent. Sleep drifts lightly, restorative yet cautious. She rests, mind wandering through gentle dreams, recalling resilience that has carried her through endless cycles of labor, necessity, and persistence. In these fragile hours, she embraces the subtle victories of simply existing, breathing, moving, and enduring. The night softens, pale light creeping into the city. Stars fade above rooftops, the town holding its breath beneath frost and silence. She curls tighter, eyes closing, body alert to faint sounds. Dreams arrive gently, sunlight on water, laughter of childhood, warmth barely grasped, fleeting freedom. These moments are rare treasures, reminders that even in hardship, beauty persists, delicate yet indelible. Her chest rises and falls slowly, breath measured, a quiet metronome in the stillness, marking endurance, patience, and fragile hope. The first pale rays of sunlight touch rooftops, spilling across streets and alleys. She rises once more, weary yet resolute, stepping into the rhythm of survival. The cycle begins anew, clients, coins, gestures, whispers, moments endured. Though unseen, unrecorded, forgotten by history, she exists. She survives. She endures. Every step, breath, motion, is a quiet triumph, testament to resilience, patience, and human strength. Dawn spreads uncertain light over the town, and she walks into it once more, alive, unbroken, persistent, a living testament to endurance. The first light of day brushes softly across the town, spilling over rooftops and dampened cobblestones. She rises slowly, body heavy yet trained by countless repetitions, each movement deliberate, each breath measured. The chill presses gently against her skin, a quiet reminder of warmth's fragility. She steps into the streets, blending with shadows and sunlight alike, attuned to every whisper, footstep, and fleeting gesture. Children chase stray fragments of bread, merchants begin to call, carts creak under their burdens, and she becomes part of this fragile rhythm, a silent witness to the quiet unfolding of life. Each breath, each step, a testament to endurance and subtle triumph. The tavern opens slowly to the day, scents of roasted meat, spilled ale, and lingering human presence filling the air. She joins her sisters, faces marked by fatigue but softened by whispered laughter and shared stories. These moments, delicate and fleeting, are sparks of warmth in a life shaped by labor, survival, and necessity. Clients begin to arrive, hesitant and uncertain, carrying the burdens of work, desire, and shame. She meets each with calm, deliberate gestures, offering attention, warmth, and presence, while protecting the part of herself that must remain unbroken. Every word, every smile, a careful negotiation between survival and self-preservation. The sun climbs higher, light streaming across streets and alleys. The tavern hums with voices, footsteps, sighs, tension, and quiet anticipation. Each client carries a story, impatience, longing, desire, or despair. She moves among them with subtle grace, sensing hidden currents of emotion, guiding each encounter with attentive eyes and practiced hands. Coins pass, hands brush, murmurs fade into thick air. Repetition becomes ritual, endurance a refined art, dignity maintained in quiet mastery. Each day, a rhythm of survival, each moment a testament to patience, skill, and the delicate triumphs hidden within human persistence. Between waves of visitors, she finds small islands of calm. She retreats to corners where candlelight flickers, exchanging whispered stories, gentle laughter, fleeting smiles with her sisters. These moments, fragile yet vital, remind her of shared humanity and the quiet warmth of connection amid relentless demands. Her mind wanders to rivers she once crossed, sunlight glinting on water, childhood laughter long gone, bread fresh from the oven. These memories, delicate yet grounding, offer strength to endure, to breathe, to remember that life exists beyond survival. The pause is brief, but necessary. Soon she returns to the rhythm of labor and endurance. The sun descends slowly, painting the town in molten amber, shadows stretching long across alleys and rooftops. Men return from labor, seeking warmth, distraction, comfort. She prepares quietly for the tide of evening visitors. Every gesture, every word, honed by repetition, balancing giving and withholding, presence and self-preservation. Her sisters drift among clients, exchanging nods, quiet smiles, subtle whispers, forming a fragile network of endurance. Coins pass, hands touch briefly, sighs are released. In this quiet communion of survival, warmth persists, a subtle reassurance that strength endures even in shared hardship. The tavern quiets, clients gone, leaving behind traces of warmth, fragrance, and muted echoes. She sits alone in the flickering candlelight, shadows stretching across walls like memories of countless nights endured. Breath slow and deliberate, She feels her body, her heartbeat, her presence, tracing the rhythm of survival that carries her through life. Her thoughts drift to sisters scattered by fate, streets walked endlessly, rivers never revisited, fleeting moments of comfort and laughter. These delicate memories offer solace, a reminder that tomorrow will demand the same resilience, vigilance, and patience. Yet certainty pulses within her chest. She survives, she endures, she persists. The town rests beneath a thick velvet sky. Frost creeps across rooftops, spreading silently over alleys. She curls into her narrow chamber, shawl wrapped tight, candlelight flickering softly. Sleep approaches slowly, carrying the weight of the day, exhaustion, warmth, whispered laughter, silent endurance. Her body relaxes, yet her mind remains vigilant, tracing the subtle rhythm of survival. In this quiet, she feels her pulse, steady, patient, unbroken, a quiet triumph of strength, endurance, and subtle victories hidden in daily life. In the deep hours, when the tavern is still, she lies awake, listening to distant footsteps, rustling animals, the sigh of wind over rooftops. Memories rise, rivers, sunlight, laughter, warmth, fleeting freedom. These fragments remind her that beyond survival, hope and imagination endure, delicate yet persistent. Sleep drifts lightly, restorative yet cautious. She rests, mind wandering through gentle dreams, recalling resilience that carries her through endless cycles of labor, necessity, and persistence. In these fragile hours, she embraces the subtle triumphs of simply existing, breathing, moving, enduring. The night softens, pale light creeping into the city. Stars fade above rooftops, and the town holds its breath beneath frost and silence. She curls tighter, eyes closed, body alert to the faintest sounds. Dreams arrive gently, sunlight on water, laughter of childhood, warmth barely grasped, freedom glimpsed and lost. These rare, fragile moments are treasures, reminders that even in hardship, beauty persists, delicate yet indelible. Her chest rises and falls slowly, breath measured, a quiet metronome marking endurance, patience, and fragile hope. The first pale rays of sunlight touch rooftops, spilling across streets and alleys. She rises once again, weary yet resolute, stepping into the rhythm of survival. The cycle begins anew, clients, coins, gestures, whispers, moments endured. Though unseen, unrecorded, forgotten by history, she exists. She survives. She endures. Every step, every breath, every motion is a quiet triumph, a testament to resilience, patience, and human strength. Dawn spreads uncertain light over the town, and she walks into it once more, alive, unbroken, persistent, a living testament to endurance. The town stirs softly under the pale touch of dawn. Cobblestones glisten faintly with dew, chimneys exhale lazy tendrils of smoke, and distant cries of merchants drift through the cool air. She rises slowly, muscles weary but trained, each motion deliberate, each breath measured, honed by years of repetition. The chill presses softly against her skin, reminding her of warmth's fragile gift. She steps forward into the awakening streets, sensing every shadow, every subtle gesture, every muted sound. Children chase fragments of bread, carts creak under heavy loads, and merchants call with tentative cheer. She moves among this rhythm, a silent witness to the fragile unfolding of life, each step and each breath a quiet testament to survival and enduring strength. The tavern opens, releasing scents of roasted meat, spilled ale, and the lingering musk of human presence. She joins her sisters, faces worn by fatigue but softened by quiet laughter and whispered stories. These brief moments are fragile sparks of warmth in a life dominated by endurance and necessity. Clients arrive, uncertain, burdened by work, desire, and longing. She greets each with calm precision, offering presence, attention, and fleeting comfort while guarding her inner strength. Every word measured, every gesture deliberate, each interaction a delicate balance between survival, compassion, and self-preservation. The sun climbs high, illuminating streets and alleys, casting long, moving shadows across the cobblestones. The tavern hums with voices, footsteps, sighs, tension, and quiet anticipation. Each client arrives carrying a story: impatience, longing, hidden desire, fleeting hope, or muted despair. She moves gracefully, sensing the currents beneath each glance, each gesture, guiding interactions with attentive hands and keen observation. Coins pass, hands brush, murmurs fade into the dense air. Repetition becomes ritual, endurance an art, dignity preserved in quiet mastery. Each day, a rhythm of life, each moment a testament to patience, resilience, and the fragile triumphs hidden within ordinary survival. Between waves of visitors, she finds small islands of stillness. Candlelight flickers gently in corners as she shares whispered laughter and fleeting smiles with her sisters. These brief, fragile moments remind her of shared humanity, tiny sparks of warmth in a world of persistent labor. Her mind drifts to rivers she once crossed, sunlight glinting on water, the laughter of children long gone, bread fresh from the oven. These memories, delicate and ephemeral, offer strength to endure, to breathe, to remember that life exists beyond necessity. The pause is fleeting, but essential. Soon she returns to the rhythm of work and survival. The sun descends, molten amber spilling across the rooftops, casting long, trembling shadows along alleys. Men return from labor, seeking warmth, distraction, fleeting comfort. She prepares quietly for the evening tide of visitors. Every motion, word, and gesture honed by repetition, balancing giving and withholding, presence and protection. Her sisters drift among clients, exchanging nods, quiet smiles, and whispered understanding, forming a fragile network of endurance. Coins change hands, hands brush, sighs are released. In these quiet moments, strength persists, subtle and resilient, arising from shared hardship and understanding. The tavern grows still, clients dispersed, leaving traces of warmth, scent, and muted echoes behind. She sits alone in the flickering candlelight, shadows stretching across walls, tracing shapes like memories of nights endured. Breath slow and deliberate, she feels her body, heartbeat, and presence, attuned to the rhythm of survival that carries her through life. Her thoughts drift to sisters scattered by circumstance, streets walked countless times, rivers never revisited, moments of fleeting comfort and laughter. These delicate memories offer solace, a reminder that tomorrow demands resilience, vigilance, and patience. Yet certainty pulses within her chest. She survives, she endures, she persists. The town sleeps under a thick, velvet sky. Frost creeps silently over rooftops and alleys. She curls into her narrow chamber, shawl wrapped tightly, candlelight flickering softly. Sleep arrives slowly, carrying with it the weight of the day, exhaustion, warmth, whispered laughter, quiet endurance. Her body relaxes, yet her mind remains attuned, tracing the subtle rhythm of survival. She feels her pulse, steady, patient, unbroken, a quiet triumph of strength, resilience, and the invisible victories hidden within the routines of life. In the deep hours, when even the tavern rests, she lies awake, listening to distant footsteps, rustling animals, and the sigh of wind over rooftops. Memories arise, rivers, sunlight, laughter, warmth, fleeting freedom. These fragments remind her that beyond survival, imagination and hope endure, delicate yet persistent. Sleep drifts lightly, restorative yet cautious. She rests, mind wandering through gentle dreams, recalling resilience that has carried her through endless cycles of labor, necessity, and persistence. In these fragile hours, she embraces the subtle triumphs of simply existing, breathing, moving, enduring. The night softens, pale light creeping into the city. Stars fade above rooftops, the town holding its breath beneath frost and silence. She curls tighter, eyes closed, body alert to the faintest sounds. Dreams arrive gently, sunlight on water, laughter of childhood, warmth barely grasped, freedom glimpsed and lost. These rare, fragile moments are treasures, reminders that even in hardship, beauty persists, delicate yet indelible. Her chest rises and falls slowly, breath measured, a quiet metronome marking endurance, patience, and fragile hope. The first pale rays of sunlight touch rooftops, spilling across streets and alleys. She rises once more, weary yet resolute, stepping into the rhythm of survival. The cycle begins anew, clients, coins, gestures, whispers, moments endured. Though unseen, unrecorded, forgotten by history, she exists. She survives. She endures. Every step, every breath, every motion is a quiet triumph, a testament to resilience, patience, and human strength. Dawn spreads uncertain light over the town, and she walks into it once more, alive, unbroken, persistent, a living testament to endurance. In the hush of medieval streets, where cobblestones glistened with the damp breath of evening fog, the lives of women of the night unfolded quietly, like pages never written into official chronicles. These women, neither saints nor villains, carried with them a history hidden beneath the flickering torchlight. Their presence was both forbidden and necessary, condemned from pulpits yet sought after in the shadows of inns, markets, and alleys. To follow their footsteps is to step into a world where survival was stitched together with secrecy, vulnerability, and resilience. Each gesture they made, each word whispered, was a negotiation with fate, a balancing act between shame and sustenance. And though their stories rarely reached the parchment of chroniclers, they endured in the breath of the cities, woven into the unspoken rhythm of medieval life. The day of a medieval prostitute often began when others ended. As the city's respectable folk retreated into their chambers, these women awoke to prepare for the night. They cleaned themselves in basins of cold water, combed their hair with wooden combs, and dabbed their skin with herbs or perfumes when they could afford them. Many owned little more than a single dress, patched and worn, yet they knew how to make the fabric seem alluring in dim candlelight. Their faces sometimes bore powder made of ground rice or chalk, a pale imitation of noble ladies' cosmetics. Yet, the truth was simpler. Their allure was less about finery and more about presence. The way they leaned against a doorway, the way their eyes lingered a second too long, the softness of a smile that promised escape from the monotony of daily labor. They turned themselves into stories, and men paid to believe in them, if only for a fleeting hour. The marketplace was not only a place of trade for goods, but also for whispers. Here, amidst the cries of butchers and cloth merchants, prostitutes sometimes lingered, disguised as ordinary women. Beneath the canopy of noise, offers were exchanged in the language of nods and glances. It was dangerous, for the church authorities despised the mingling of lust with the ordinary commerce of bread and wine. Yet, necessity outweighed fear. In the corners of markets, in the back rooms of taverns, these women conducted business quietly. Some were under the control of brothel keepers, paying heavy dues for protection, while others moved like shadows, independent, always at risk. Behind every exchange was a fragile hope that tonight's earnings might mean a piece of bread, a patch for worn shoes, or the ability to bribe a guard to look the other way. Each night's labor was survival written in coin. But behind the transactions lay lives of aching tenderness, often invisible. Many women carried with them memories of children they could not raise, of families who had cast them out, of husbands lost to war or disease. Loneliness was a constant companion, one that money could never silence. Some found companionship among each other, sisters not by blood but by shared fate. In the dim light of their shared rooms, they whispered secrets, shared laughter, cried quietly, and braided each other's hair as if to weave comfort into the fabric of their sorrow. These quiet rituals became their sanctuary, a fragile thread of humanity in a world that reduced them to objects of desire and scorn. For behind the public mask of seduction, each was still a woman who once dreamed of safety, warmth, and belonging. In brothels sanctioned by the city? Yes, sanctioned, for many medieval towns permitted and taxed such places. Life followed a strange rhythm. Rules were strict. Women were registered, inspected by physicians to prevent the spread of disease, and taxed by officials who profited from their survival. The irony was sharp. The same authorities who damned them in sermons also built coffers from their earnings. In some cities, brothels were marked with lanterns of a specific color, glowing faintly at night like signals of hidden worlds. Inside, rooms were bare. A straw bed, a jug of water, a candle stub. Yet for all their plainness, these spaces became stages upon which countless dramas of desire, despair, and transaction played out, night after night. Each creak of the bed, each whispered word, carried echoes of a world caught between heaven's judgment and earth's hunger. The danger was ever present. Violence lurked behind closed doors. Clients, drunk or desperate, could turn cruel in an instant. Protection was uncertain, and justice rarely arrived for women of the trade. Some carried knives tucked beneath skirts, others relied on older women who guarded the door. Fear was part of their livelihood, woven into the rhythm of their nights. Disease, too, was a shadow never far away. Without knowledge of medicine beyond herbs and charms, their bodies bore the weight of endless risk. And yet, they persisted. For to stop was to starve, and so they returned again and again to the night's uncertain embrace. Their endurance was not a choice of luxury, but of survival, a testament to human resilience under the harshest of conditions, and yet, not all was despair. There were moments, rare and fleeting, when humanity broke through the veil of transaction. A client might arrive, not for lust, but for company, for someone to listen to his burdens, to hold his hand, to offer the illusion of care in a world of indifference. In such moments, the prostitute became more than what society reduced her to. She became a confidant, a healer of loneliness. These exchanges, though brief, carried a tenderness seldom spoken of. For both knew the roles they played, and yet, for the span of an evening, they created a fragile island of comfort. It is in these quiet, unrecorded moments that the humanity of their profession can be glimpsed. An echo of love, even where love was forbidden, religion haunted every step of their existence. From the church pulpit, priests thundered against them, branding them as sinners, temptresses, tools of the devil. Yet, paradoxically, the same cities built red light districts near cathedrals, acknowledging their necessity. Women often prayed in secret, clutching rosaries, kneeling before icons, asking forgiveness for lives they had little power to change. Their prayers were often not for themselves but for their children, their families, their souls long after death. They lived in a world where their very existence was considered sinful, and yet, they carved out spaces of spirituality in the margins, trying to reconcile heaven's rejection with their earthly need. In the silence of night, perhaps more than any priest, they understood the fragility of the human soul. Through the centuries, their image shifted like a shadow on the wall. Some became legends, remembered in bawdy songs sung in taverns, their names woven into folklore. Others vanished without trace, their lives swallowed by anonymity. But together, they shaped the rhythm of medieval towns in ways often unspoken. They were part of the city's economy, its social fabric, its hidden rituals. They bore the weight of scorn so others could walk more freely, they carried the burden of desire so that society could pretend to remain pure. Their stories linger not in chronicles but in whispers, in the margins of manuscripts, in the faint lines of poetry that dared to speak of forbidden things. And as the torchlight fades from the medieval street, as the night deepens into silence, we leave behind these women, not as caricatures of sin, but as human beings. Women who laughed, who wept, who endured, who survived. To listen to their story is to listen to the heartbeat of history in its most vulnerable, unvarnished form. They remind us that the past is not only the tale of kings, knights, and saints, but also of those who lived in the shadows, bearing the weight of survival with quiet strength. And so, in this moment of reflection as sleep gathers softly, we honor them, their voices rising gently through time, asking not for judgment, but for remembrance. The midnight streets lie silent under a pale, wavering moon. Cobblestones gleam with moisture, reflecting the faint glow of distant lanterns. She moves like a shadow, practiced and careful, knowing each step must avoid the gaze of watchmen and prying eyes. Every alley is familiar, every doorway memorized. The city sleeps, but her world awakens in these quiet hours. Survival demands vigilance. The night rewards those who move with grace and patience. Her heart beats steadily, echoing the rhythm of resilience, of countless nights endured, of endless repetition turned into skill. In the hushed corners of the tavern, she exchanges words with her sisters, women who share more than the work. They share understanding. Whispered stories ripple softly, laughter hidden beneath cautious breaths. These small moments of connection are fragile islands in a sea of hardship. They speak of dreams once held, loves lost, fears faced, and the tiny victories that sustain them. In the darkness, their voices blend with candlelight flickering against stone walls, crafting a sanctuary that no client, no coin, no danger can penetrate. Here, humanity endures. Though the hours are quiet, the weight of the day lingers. Her body aches with memory, muscles stiff from leaning, walking, bending, from hands raised to shield herself, from nights spent in cramped, hard beds. Yet her spirit remains intact, sharpened by experience, tempered by necessity. She recalls faces, gestures, moments, each client a fleeting story, each encounter a negotiation of body, mind, and survival. The physical toll is heavy, yet endurance has become second nature, a rhythm as natural as breathing itself. By candlelight, she contemplates the fleeting moments of beauty she finds in small things. A shard of moonlight through a narrow window, the quiet laughter of a sister, the scent of bread baking in a distant oven. These delicate observations sustain her, offering glimpses of joy in a life dominated by survival. She allows herself to linger, letting her mind drift to rivers she once saw, gardens long gone, the warmth of sun on skin barely remembered. These memories, though fragile, are treasures, grounding her in the knowledge that life extends beyond immediate struggle. The night deepens, and men arrive, some hesitant, some desperate, some seeking comfort beyond the body. She meets each with practiced calm, reading their intentions, guiding the interaction with subtle gestures. Every smile, every word, every touch is a measured act of negotiation. Danger and desire entwine. Risk is constant. And yet she endures. She turns these encounters into art, crafting moments of understanding, fleeting companionship, and even compassion. Survival is not only about the coin. It is about preserving her dignity, even in circumstances designed to strip it away. Among the women, alliances are formed in quiet, unspoken ways. A nod, a shared glance, a candle left burning for safety, these small gestures knit a web of protection and trust. In this hidden sisterhood, wisdom is passed down. Which clients to avoid, which lanes are safe, how to guard against danger. Life is precarious, but knowledge is a shield. They rely on one another, not just for protection, but for moments of laughter, for whispered comfort, for solidarity in the face of scorn and exploitation. In these connections, endurance finds its roots. The night air bites, cold and sharp, pressing against her skin as she moves through silent streets. Her breath rises in white puffs, mingling with mist that drifts through narrow alleys. Each step is deliberate, each sound is noted. Loneliness presses close, but she has learned to bear it. Even in the absence of warmth, even in the shadow of fear, she persists. Strength is measured not by absence of pain, but by the ability to continue despite it. And so she walks, ghost-like, yet fully alive, carrying within her a quiet, unbroken will. She finds moments of solitude where no eyes pry and no hands demand. In these brief interludes, she closes her eyes and breathes deeply, listening to the quiet pulse of the city. The rustle of leaves, the distant barking of dogs, the soft murmur of a river, all become lullabies, a gentle reminder of life beyond labor. Her mind drifts, exploring memories and fleeting dreams, weaving a fragile tapestry of hope that sustains her through the long hours. Even in darkness, she finds small sparks of serenity. Memories are both solace and burden. She recalls childhood laughter, moments of warmth, fleeting kindness from strangers. She remembers faces she will never see again, songs long forgotten, rivers where sunlight danced on water. These recollections are bittersweet, reminders of what was lost, yet anchors that prevent despair from swallowing her entirely. In the quiet, she honors them, letting the past flow through her like a gentle current, shaping the strength she carries into each new night. As the first hint of light brushes rooftops, the city holds its breath in pre-dawn stillness. She pauses, standing at the edge of the street, feeling the cool air, sensing the subtle stirrings of life around her. The night is almost over, yet its lessons linger. Endurance, vigilance, compassion, resilience. With measured steps, she returns to her chamber, preparing to rest briefly before the cycle begins anew. And in that quiet, she knows, she has survived another night, and in surviving she claims a quiet, unspoken victory over a world that seeks to diminish her. The first light of dawn stretches over the medieval town, painting rooftops and streets in soft amber hues. She rises slowly, muscles aching from the night's labor, yet trained by years of repetition. Every movement is deliberate, measured, precise. The world is quiet, the city holding its breath, as if granting a moment of grace before the day begins in earnest. She breathes deeply, feeling the cool air fill her lungs, and steps into the rhythm that has sustained her through countless mornings, a rhythm of survival, of resilience, of unspoken strength. The streets are hushed, cobblestones damp from overnight mist. Shopkeepers begin to stir, opening shutters, sweeping dust from thresholds, calling out tentative greetings to early customers. She walks among them, blending with shadows, unseen yet fully present. Her eyes observe the subtle shifts of the city, a cart tilting slightly under its weight, a child chasing a stray dog, a stray cat winding through alleys. In these quiet moments, she absorbs the pulse of life, finding connection in observation and comfort in the small constancy of the world around her. Back in her small chamber, she prepares for another day, ritualizing her routine with careful attention. Water is poured into basins, hands scrubbed until raw, hair combed and braided. She adorns herself with whatever remnants of beauty she possesses, a scarf, a ribbon, a dab of herbal powder. Though modest, each gesture carries intention. It is not vanity but preparation, a shield of self-respect in a world that seeks to define her by her work alone. In these moments, she claims agency, however small, asserting her presence against the invisibility the city would impose. She moves toward the edges of the market, where the scent of baked bread mingles with that of wet earth and horse dung. Merchants call out, children play, dogs bark, and the air is alive with ordinary life. Here, she blends into the rhythm, observing, waiting. Clients will arrive later, yet the day is already a negotiation, of visibility, of attention, of opportunity. Every glance, every gesture, every subtle motion is a calculated step in a delicate dance of survival, one honed over years of practice and intuition. Her sisters, women bound by circumstance and choice, gather in hidden corners. Whispered words, soft laughter, exchanged breadcrumbs, shared knowledge, these are the unseen treasures of their existence. Each teaches the other what the city's light and shadow conceal, where to tread, which alley to avoid, how to read a client's mood in a single glance. In this web of shared wisdom, solidarity blooms quietly. Here, they are not merely survivors but allies, their subtle strength intertwined, offering protection, understanding, and the solace of unspoken empathy. As the day unfolds, men arrive, bringing with them an array of intentions, curiosity, desire, loneliness, despair. She greets each with calm composure, eyes attentive, hands measured, words chosen with precision. Each encounter is a negotiation, not only of coin and time, but of dignity, of boundaries, of self-preservation. Danger lurks in the subtlest of moments, yet she moves gracefully through it, a master of balance, turning necessity into ritual, labor into art, and survival into a quiet triumph that goes unrecognized by history. Within the cadence of transactions, brief moments of humanity surface. A soft smile exchanged, a shared word of comfort, a fleeting touch that conveys understanding rather than desire. In these slivers of connection, she experiences a depth of existence beyond the transactional. The clients, too, unaware, are touched by her empathy, her presence. These fragments, ephemeral and delicate, illuminate the otherwise harsh canvas of her life, offering solace and affirming the enduring strength of compassion in places least expected. Risk is constant, like the shifting shadows at the edge of candlelight. Drunken aggression, disease, the scrutiny of authorities, each night brings hazards unseen by those who judge her without understanding. Yet, she navigates them with practiced caution, relying on memory, intuition, and the quiet guidance of sisters. Fear is a constant companion, yet it sharpens her awareness, fortifies her resolve, and deepens the rhythm of her endurance. The city itself becomes a partner in her survival, its alleys and rooftops, corners and hidden passages, mapped by experience and necessity. Evening falls slowly, softening the harshness of daylight into muted amber and shadow. Clients return from labor, seeking warmth, distraction, or companionship. She prepares, aligning mind, body, and spirit, ready to meet the night with the calm precision it demands. Each gesture, each word, each motion is informed by countless repetitions, by instinct sharpened through survival. In the quiet before the influx, she allows herself a moment to breathe, to center, to remember that resilience is as much about patience as it is about strength. When the tavern quiets and clients depart, she sits alone in the flickering candlelight, letting the silence envelope her. Shadows dance across stone walls, echoing memories of countless nights endured. Her body relaxes, her mind wanders through recollections of childhood, fleeting joys, lost loves, moments of laughter, and fragments of warmth. Here, in the intimate stillness, she touches the quiet triumph of surviving another day, the subtle power of existing fully, of enduring despite a world that seeks to define and confine her. In this fragile glow, history's forgotten heartbeat hums softly, a lullaby for those who listen closely. The sun has set beyond the city walls, leaving streets cloaked in deep indigo shadows. Lanterns flicker faintly, casting gentle, wavering pools of light. She steps softly through the empty alleys, each cobblestone familiar beneath her feet, each doorway a marker of past encounters. The city breathes quietly around her, and in this solitude, she feels both fragile and indomitable. Nightfall is not merely a return of darkness. It is a stage upon which her life unfolds, a canvas for endurance, patience, and subtle mastery. In hidden corners, she and her sisters exchange quiet laughter, the kind that slips past the ears of those who would judge. Stories of minor victories, jokes shared in fleeting moments, and the soft acknowledgement of one another's presence create a fragile web of comfort. These whispers carry the warmth of humanity into spaces otherwise dominated by labor and danger. Here, in the shadowed quiet, they are not merely survivors but women claiming a measure of joy, a reclamation of spirit amidst the harshness of their world. The night demands patience, a slow, deliberate rhythm that governs every step, every glance, every word. She waits, attentive to subtle sounds, the shift of a cart on the street, a footfall against the stone, a distant laugh carried by wind. Danger and opportunity coexist in these moments, and she has learned to navigate them with care. Patience is her shield, vigilance her companion, and experience her guide. In the quiet tension of the hours, she moves with the grace of someone attuned to the city's heartbeat, unseen yet profoundly aware. Solitude presses gently against her, a constant presence that alternates between burden and blessing. She feels it in the long stretches between clients, in the still hours before dawn, in the silent corners of taverns and alleys. Yet in this solitude, she finds a rhythm, a reflection, a space in which to collect strength. Her thoughts wander, memories of childhood, fleeting glances of kindness, the scent of warm bread, the soft murmur of distant rivers. These recollections sustain her, delicate threads weaving resilience into her being. Men arrive with a mixture of desire, curiosity, and despair. She greets each with measured composure, every gesture a dance of negotiation between safety and survival. Touch, glance, word, all are precise, deliberate, controlled. The shadows are her allies, vigilance is her armor. And within the rhythm of these encounters, there exists a strange poetry, a fleeting intimacy born of necessity, a shared understanding of human vulnerability. Every night is both trial and triumph, danger and affirmation, and she moves through it all with quiet mastery. After the tide of visitors has passed, she sits alone by candlelight, observing the soft dance of flame against stone walls. Shadows stretch, contract, and merge, mirroring the complexities of her existence. She reflects on fleeting joys, on the laughter shared with sisters, on moments of tenderness hidden within the labor of survival. These reflections do not erase hardship but transform it, shaping endurance into art, suffering into quiet triumph. Each night, she claims this space as her own, a sanctuary of thought, memory, and self-possession. Silence envelopes the streets, thick with the hush of midnight. She listens to the distant murmur of the city, the whisper of wind over rooftops, the faint rustle of animals in alleys. In this quiet, she perceives the rhythm of life that continues beyond her immediate struggle. Endurance is a constant companion, invisible yet tangible, shaping every decision, every gesture, every breath. She has learned to live with both fear and hope, to survive without surrender, to exist fully within a world that seeks to marginalize her. Memories drift through her consciousness like leaves carried by a gentle stream, the warmth of sun on her skin as a child, laughter that echoed along rivers, fleeting kindness from strangers, the fragile touch of love that never remained. These recollections, ephemeral and delicate, sustain her spirit. In remembering, she reclaims portions of herself, fragments too often denied by circumstance. Her past becomes a quiet refuge, a source of strength that guides her through the ceaseless demands of the present night. The horizon begins to hint at the coming day, pale light brushing the edges of rooftops and streets. She pauses, standing at the edge of an alley, taking in the stillness. Each breath is deliberate, slow, measured, a meditation on survival and resilience. The city is on the cusp of awakening, yet she is in this moment fully aware of each sound, each shadow, each possibility. She reflects on the nights endured, the trials overcome, the quiet victories of a life lived on the margins yet lived fully, fiercely, persistently. As dawn spreads soft light across the city, she returns to her chamber, preparing to rest briefly before the cycle begins anew. Her body aches, her mind is alert, her spirit intact. She has survived another night as countless others have, claiming each small triumph through vigilance, wisdom, and unbroken will. The world may never record her name, yet her existence leaves a mark on the rhythm of the city, on the texture of streets, on the pulse of human endurance. In this quiet persistence, she is both witness and participant in history, living proof that survival is itself an act of profound courage. As the city settles into a quiet dawn, and the first birds stir softly in the distance, we leave behind the narrow streets, the flickering lanterns, and the hidden lives that unfolded under shadow and candlelight. The women of the night, whose courage, resilience, and humanity endured unseen by history, continue their rhythm, surviving, adapting, and persisting. Their stories remind us that history is not written solely by kings, knights, or saints, but by those who inhabit the margins, who carry the weight of survival with quiet strength, who transform adversity into endurance. In the hush of the morning, as cobblestones dry in the rising sun and the city stirs with new life, we remember them, their laughter, their tears, their whispered conversations, and their moments of tender humanity. They are echoes in the fabric of the town, a pulse beneath the stone and timber, a heartbeat of courage and continuity. And as you drift deeper into sleep, imagine the calm strength they carried through every night, every hardship, every fleeting moment, knowing that survival itself is a quiet, profound victory. Rest now, in the gentle knowledge that the world has always held both shadows and light, and in those shadows, remarkable stories unfold, stories of endurance, courage, and humanity, softly resonating through the corridors of time.